Now, the subject that I'm going to go into, living in America, is Hispanics and not Israelites. And I chose to very controversial subject to deal with, but there has to be a percentage of Israel. At one time, that North American Indians or tribes, Indians in North South Central America, subject of what we're going to go into. And I want everyone to understand that and listen to
All right. Shalom. Most High in Christ bless. Happy Sabbath. Everybody tuning in around the globe. Congratulations. This is the movement. Believe that. Tonight's topic: Mexicans, Indians, and Negroes. Yeah, oh yeah. Mexicans, Indians, and Negroes. Let me dial back a bit. Let me give me 1 minute. No, give me 2 minutes. So, it's very funny because when you come into this truth, there's brothers that's teaching, pushing this movement way before we were, and even going back into ancient times. But somehow, you get brothers that come into the truth, and sisters, and they might have been in this junk 2 years, and somehow, miraculously, in their minds, they believe they got it down pat. And then when you ask them, you can hear, you don't know this when you're new. But when you come up to somebody who's been in this truth, man, and been pushing in this walk, and you just start talking, you don't even realize, even in your speech, the person that's been walking in this, they understand you new. I'm gonna say it again. I mean, it's happened all the time. People run up, oh yeah, you know this and that. I'm hearing you. I can tell you new. But tell you don't really know that much. So then it's the same thing with these brothers that's online and sisters learning online. Last night we did Order of the House. My gosh, they should have been on those classes. I mean, it had to be spiritual. At the end of the day, brothers come in this, and I get it, you have zeal, and you believe this is the truth, but you have to take your time and learn first. There's a lot of different nuances to the scriptures that has to come out that can heighten your understanding to go, oh, I get it, I see it, that's the truth. But if you don't, and you just run off and run like in a bull rush, now it's time for us to conk you on your head. And then you call up the organization, you start blowing up everybody, and talking about you want to go straight to the top. Then when you get to the top, epic failure. Brothers have wives coaching them. Bring this out. Tell them this. Embarrassing. You understand? You got other brothers wanna so much battle, but houses are not in order. So you on with men. Men is having a discussion, and then instantaneously you hear in the background, "You care about this more than me." of order. How you expect to learn anything when you're not in order? So, the gripe with Israel, congratulations to all that's tuning in. The gripe is they seem to think that we never vetted who they call the Northern Kingdom. There's a reason why you don't understand when it comes down to that level. We're going to get to it. There's a reason why. All right. Let's open up with the book of Isaiah. Then here, give me Isaiah 8. You know I want verse 20.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 8 and verse 20.
Come on.
To the law.
To the what?
To the law.
To the law. Read.
And to the testimony.
And to the testimony. Read.
If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
If they speak not according to this word, that order, that structure, it's because they have no light in them. No light, no law, no understanding. The testimony is of Christ. Now, why did we pull that? It's very important. Let's go to Revelation chapter 19 and verse 10. Let's see what Christ is all about, y'all.
The book of Revelations, chapter 19 and verse 10.
Come on.
And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Jesus. Worship God, for the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy.
The testimony of Christ is to have the spirit of prophecy on you. You have to be able to, if you have the spirit of Christ on you, you can understand prophecy. To have his testimony is to say, okay, I'm looking at the prophecies. Prophecies speak in a different way. Prophecies do not speak to you in the way that you can go on and go, okay, that's it. In the year 2018, you're going to be sitting down drinking coffee. That's not prophecy. That's not prophecy. Prophecy is written in a similitude, so when it comes to pass, you automatically, instantaneously know that that's the word of the Most High, because it's written in a way where only Spirit can reveal it, and you can ascertain. Oh, wait a minute, that was written so crafty. What man would go about doing that in the future? Keep that in mind. Read it again.
The book of Revelations, chapter 19 and verse 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Jesus. Worship God, for the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy.
To bear that testimony, all right, is to have the spirit of prophecy. If you don't understand prophecy, you're missing, I'm going to say, about 9/10 of this book. I'm going to say it again. The milk is the law. You can read that. Oh, do thou shalt. Thou shalt. Okay, good. The part that you need to really grasp is prophecy. Then now we're going to start going into some prophecies. All right, so the gripe is about the chart. Let's get y'all cleared up about that, because they call it a chart. And a lot of y'all heard us say it's not a chart. It's an ensign. You know, what is an ensign? What is it? Goodbye, sir. What's an ensign? So for us, we have to be equipped, because you're going to get attacked with all this, y'all. Somebody going to come up to you and be like, the 12 tribes are all Negroes. Negro is a byword. You didn't realize that? Negro is a byword. You're not a Negro. That's That's a byword. When we say Negroid and Indian descent, we're saying it so that you can comprehend. So the folks that are called the byword can understand what we're talking about. It's the only reason why we're saying it. Hispanic native, that's not a word. It's not a nationality. We're only saying Negro. All the tribes of the same nation, of the same nation, but we only characterizing them by the facts of what they know they are right now. Because if we didn't say that, they would know. So first and foremost, when somebody go, all 12 tribes are Negro, then okay, yeah, we understand that. Now what? They are. Because a Hispanic native, he's a Negro. You didn't know that. We're only calling him Hispanic because to identify. We're only calling him an Indian to identify. Indian means savage. Would you like us to call him mulatto? That's when you read the logs, that's what they called them. And they picked them back up and put them back to the coast of Spain. You only know, this is where pride comes in at too, boy. This is where I love to be in this little middle section right here. You only know that you're an Israelite by the prophecies of this book. That's it. You don't know about nothing else. By these curses. So wherever these curses fit, they're the Israelites. You only know, I'll challenge anybody, scholars, historians. Come stand up. And you may fall where you stand at. Because at the end of the day, we know that we're Israel by the curses, the end. That's the only way you know. A lot of folks came in, they read Deuteronomy 28:68. Said, wow, that's slave ships. You thought it stopped right there? You didn't think that the natives was taken on ships and brung all over the place? How you think they got scattered out through the Caribbeans? A lot of people don't even know about the history of the Caribbeans. They call Caribbeans, the ancient history of it is called Arawak landings. They don't even know that. Because those people that came was in that section first. Then scattered everywhere because of the captivity. Brung all everywhere. There's natives who you may call Indians off the coast of Spain, living in the island. How'd they get there? So the point of somebody singling it out, I get it, we get that, but you don't understand the level of where we have to attack our people at. And we have to attack them by the words that they're known by. So be it as a byword, we're calling you Negroid. Now, I mean, you should be, in a way, you should be upset. Like, damn, what is Negroid? What is a Negroid? Not your nationality. We gotta call you black. Brother said last night, said, well, I got a concern because all of the Israelites came from one man, they're black. We just have a long way to go. But the knowledge has to increase. That's the thing, y'all. Knowledge has to increase. You don't realize the validity of having what you would call the Northern Kingdom brothers and sisters out there in this movement. The validity of it is that nobody can say that this is a racist campaign. Because we're saying so-called blacks, so-called Hispanic natives are the Israelites. We say Hispanic natives, it means Indians. Indian means savage. We gotta keep going over these same bywords. That's a curse. That's being underneath a curse, man. You see the loop that we're in? You ain't getting out that cycle yet. We gotta consistently go out there and say, you so-called blacks and Hispanics. We still gotta call them by the bywords, man. That's a curse. Well, we're gonna get into this prophecy and stuff today. Make sure this is a little longer topic than everybody's used to, because it's so intricate. We gotta let you see it for yourself. Genesis chapter 38 and verse 1.
The book of Genesis chapter 38 and verse 1.
Come on.
And it came to pass at the time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adulamite.
Come on.
Whose name was Harah. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite. Whose name was Shahah. And he took her and went into her.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. Boy, there go them Judites again. Loving all kinds of strange women. He took her, this Canaanite woman, and he went into her. When it says went into her, what does that mean, Jay? No, not you, Bethel. Okay, yep, he lied with her. That's what happened. He lied with a Canaanite woman. Now, any scholars here, is that lawful? Nehemiah. Nehemiah shook his head, y'all, for everybody who don't know. He said that's not lawful. He is correct. That is not lawful for him to do. But he did it. That's a woman of another nation. Read.
Verse 3. And she conceived and bare a son, and he called his name
Come on.
And she conceived again and bare a son, and she called his name Onan.
So now, which is not lawful, is for Israel to deal with the women of another nation. So now this child would be what somebody would label today as what? What? Mixed. Mingled. Read.
Verse 5. And she yet again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Shelah.
Come on.
And he was at Shazib when she bare him. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar.
So now Judah, he took a wife for his firstborn, whose name is Tamar. Now, just by the name alone, when you read in the biblical context, you can tell that this woman right here is of our nation, just by the name alone. Because Israel, newsflash, names mean a lot. It's a lot. We're going to get to it. But names are very important in Israel. Very. Because names, for someone to name a child, the name normally was given because of the blessing that the Most High bestowed upon them at that time. Oh, we're going to get there. So now we know this woman, Tamar, is for Does anybody see a pattern forming right now? Because some people say, well, you know, once a mixed kid, he's nothing. Why would then, read on, watch this.
Verse 7. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord.
Come on.
And the Lord slew him.
See, the Lord put him to death. The mixed child. You very much unlearned. No, he's wicked. Read.
And Judah said unto Onan.
So now Judah looks to Onan. Go ahead.
Go in unto thy brother's wife, and marry her.
Come on.
And raise up seed to thy brother.
So if it was unlawful if somebody was truly mixed, why would that decree go out? Keep it on law. And Onan would be Israelites because their father is an Israelite. Watch this. Read on.
Verse 9. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his.
Come on.
And it came to pass, when he went in unto his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground.
Come on.
Lest that he should give seed to his brother.
He did what? Uriel. What? I ain't know Bethel was on that side of the room. No. What you did?
He was disobedient. He didn't plant the seed.
Right. He showed hatred. He showed hate. Where are you brothers? Some of the ladies like, y'all think, you better thank goodness we commanded to learn in silence. He was showed hatred. He showed hatred, y'all. That's what he did. Ultimate hatred for his brother. Read.
Verse 10. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord, wherefore he slew him also.
Wherefore he slew him also. So he was supposed to do it. The Lord was allowing it. He was like, okay, but since you didn't, we're going to destroy you. So that shows us one supreme principle, that you are who your father is. And if your father gave you a command or an authority and something to do, the Lord looked upon that as do it. Thus what? You can't look at a person that goes, oh, well, he mingled the holy seed. The child from that man is another nation or a bastard or whatever it is. You can't look at it like that. The child from an Israelite man, whatever that seed is going to be who that father is. And Onan would have been Judites. I'll show you a little another. Keep reading down. We're going to give a little another mystery in this. Let's give another mystery. Read down.
Verse 11. Then said Judah to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, remain a widow at thy father's house.
Come on.
To Shelah my son be grown. For he said, lest peradventure he die also, as his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. And in process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died. And Judah was comforted and went up unto his sheep shears to Timnath, he and his friend Harah, the Adulamite.
Come on.
And it was told Tamar, saying, behold, thy father-in-law goeth up to Timnath to shear his sheep. And she put her widow's garment off from her, and covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place, which is by the way to Timnath. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife.
So all this time passed for her. She like, I don't have, the husband that he promised me. So she took off the widow's clothes, and she fixed herself up. Obviously, she knows something. I mean, who does this? Read.
Verse 15. When Judah saw her, he thought her to be an harlot. Because
What?
When Judah saw her, he thought her to be an harlot.
Boy. He thought it was what's a harlot? Nathaniel.
A harlot is a woman who sleeps around with multiple men, looking for money and just for pleasure.
Let's give me a name. Bethel was raising his hand so much. I even felt him. He was No, you getting your shot. The prostitute. So he thinking that she's a harlot. Read.
When Judah saw her, he thought her to be an harlot, because she had covered her face. And he turned unto her by the way, and said, Go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee.
Let him will do what?
Let me come in unto thee. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, What wilt thou give me, that thou mayest come in unto me? And he said,
What kind of transaction being made?
way out of order.
This just showed this. Let me say this. You folks watching online, everybody here, everybody across the globe. Everything Israel did was not right. You can't read this and be like, oh, Judah when it got some harlots, I can do it too. You're going to be destroyed. You're going to be the very one that's going to get destroyed. I've seen brothers over the years, simple enough, pull this scripture on us. They say, I got him. Give me the hole. Okay. Y'all here, what's going on? Be Genesis 38. I already know where you're going. What's you little lustful demon? What do you want? You want to deal with some harlots? Scriptures tell you, man, you can't join yourself to harlots. But this is showing you everything Israel did was not good, man. You cannot read this book and be like, oh, they did this, so we gonna do it. You're gonna be destroyed. Oh, you will be destroyed. Remember, we opened up, you have to have the spirit of prophecy within you, which is the spirit of Christ. You gotta understand something's developing here. Read.
Verse 17. And he said, I will send thee a kid from the flock.
A kid from the flock, a baby what? Yeah, a little baby goat. Give you a little, that's money. Especially back then, that's money. Come on.
And she said, wilt thou give me a pledge?
Oh, she wants something better. She ain't stupid. She wants something better than that. Give me a pledge. Come on.
Till thou send it?
Come on.
And he said, what pledge shall I give thee? And she said, thy signet.
She's smart. Something's happening. She knows. Come on.
And thy bracelets, and thy staff that is in thy hand. And he gave it her, and came in unto her, and she conceived by him.
Gosh. So now, so he done did the deeds, Bethel, and now she's conceived. What are the children going to be? Something they Judites. But see, you have to realize the importance of this. I'm going to show you something. Just jump down. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it. Jump down real quick to verse 24.
The book of Genesis, chapter 38 and verse 24. And it came to pass about 3 months after that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar, thy daughter-in-law hath played the harlot, and also, behold, she is with child by whoredom. And Judah said, bring her forth, and let her be burnt.
Come on.
When she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, by the man whose these are, I am with child. And she said, discern, I pray thee, whose are these? The signet and bracelet and staff.
Uh-oh. I know you can only imagine he hit. You're like, damn, I thought that was a harlot. Gosh. Read.
Verse 26. And Judah acknowledged him and said, she had been more righteous than I.
She has been more righteous than I. Come on.
Because that I gave her not the Shelah, my son, and he knew her again no more.
They say he knew her again no more. What does that mean? He never laid with her again. This should bring y'all brothers and sisters to another understanding, even with the virgin birth. With Joseph, so why he knew her not. Oh yeah, same thing. Read.
Verse 27.
Little ammo, come on.
And it came to pass, in the time of her travail, that behold, twins were in her womb.
Twins was in her womb, come on.
And it came to pass, when she travailed, that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying, this came out first.
Come on.
And it came to pass, as he drew back his hand, that, behold, his brother came out. And she said, how hast thou broken forth?
How hast thou broken forth? Read.
this breach be upon thee. Therefore his name was called Pharez.
So this man broke forth out first, even though the other one had the thread on the hand, right? Joshua chapter 2, verse 18. Hold this, we coming back. Just drop you a little nugget real quick. So what's that little thread around the hand mean? Huh, Jake? Let's find out. Joshua chapter 2 and verse 18.
The book of Joshua, chapter 2 and verse 18.
Come on.
Behold, when we come into the land, thou shalt bind this line of scarlet thread.
The same type of scarlet thread that they're using now, then, for a reason. Pay attention, read.
In the widow which thou didst let us down by. And thou shalt bring thy father.
They're going to do what?
And thou shalt bring thy father.
So that scarlet thread is going to represent, thou shalt bring thy father, read.
And thy mother.
Thy mother, read.
And thy brethren.
And thy brethren, come on.
And all thy father's household home unto thee.
Home unto thee. So the scarlet thread represented for her, they were going to be able to bring the family. Verse 1.
The book of Matthew, chapter 1 and verse 1.
Scarlet thread, read.
The book of the generations of Jesus Christ.
Come on.
The son of David.
Come on.
The son of Abraham.
Come on.
Abraham begot Isaac.
Come on.
And Isaac begot Jacob.
Yes, sir. Read.
And Jacob begot Judas and his brethren.
Judah and his brethren. Come on.
And Judas begot Pharez.
Who?
Pharez.
Did you read about him? Christ comes from his lineage. He's going to gather the fathers, the mothers, the brethren. He broke forth. They had to put the thread on his hand because he broke forth. He came out. I said, man, who is this little baby? When you read about him, the lineage comes through him. All the way down from Boaz, David, they come from him. He's a mighty Judite. That's why the signet, the little thread was on his hand. All right? We read the next verse. Go to Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 3. Just to give you a little, just peeking behind the scenes right now. We are still talking about the Mexicans, the Indians, and the Negroes.
Song of Solomon, chapter 4 and verse 3.
Come on.
Thy lips are like a thread of scarlet, and thy speech is comely. Thy temples are like a piece of a pomegranate within thy locks.
Oh, read again.
The book of Song of Solomon, chapter 4 and verse 3. Thy lips are like a thread of scarlet, and thy speech is comely. Thy temples are like a piece of a pomegranate within thy locks.
So why did he say that about his lips? Michael Judah. It says lips.
Come on here, word.
Okay. Because they put it on a little baby to signify he was coming out. Then his brother broke out first. They're gonna have to put it back on him. They're gonna have to put it on scarlet on Pharez's wrist as well. The lineage we found out is coming through Christ. Right? That Christ comes through that lineage right there. The lips. What is it showing you about a lineage? The thing.
It's showing that through Pharez comes forth the Christ. And through his lips, the words, which he's bringing the law to grab back all Israel into one fold.
Right. Through his lips. What else you got?
I started thinking about the phylacteries that the priests used to wrap around the forehead, the forearms, and the frontlets on their head.
Right.
Same way as Christ when he saw at the temple, saw about his mind, that the pomegranate of his mind, his thoughts is very sweet.
Right.
To Israel to get salvation.
Right. And this is what they didn't know. But through their ignorance, they didn't know about what the frontlets meant. They thought it was literal. Through their ignorance about the phylacteries, they don't understand. It's the word that gets it forward. It's the same ignorance today. They don't understand the word. If you don't understand the word, you're done. But in order to understand it, you got to filter it through Christ. Just like his lineage comes and filters through all the way you get to Christ. That's the point. All All right? Keep that exclusively in your mind. That's a nugget. We just scratched the surface. We didn't even hit the whole thing. Keep that in your mind. Numbers chapter 2 and verse 1. Let's go.
The book of Numbers, chapter 2 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, every man of the children of Israel shall pitch by his own standard.
Come on.
And with the ensign of their father's house, far off about the tabernacle of the congregation shall they pitch.
Now I asked the little young cronies, the young brothers, I said, well, you know what? What's an ensign? Because they kept repeating it. They was regurgitating what we say. That's a lot of times when you want to be smart, you become a parakeet. But you don't understand what you're parakeeting. And it just becomes self-evidence when somebody go, well, what's an ensign? When somebody's saying that the ensign is Christ. So Mashiach is the ensign, brother. So okay, then read Numbers 2 and 2 again.
The book of Numbers, chapter 2 and verse 2. Every man of the children of Israel shall pitch by his own standard, with the ensign of their father's house.
With the ensign of their father's house. Newsflash, y'all. That's why we don't call it a chart. Because it's an ensign to your father's house. It's something that's specific about your tribe that we need to look at. Characteristic. We're going to get there. Let's go to Judges. Chapter 12. Your father's house has an ensign. Let's find out one.
Book of Judges, chapter 12 and verse 4. Then Jephthah gathered together all the men of Gilead and fought with Ephraim.
Who did he fight with?
And fought with Ephraim.
So Jephthah gathered all the men of Gilead and fought with Ephraim. Come on.
And the men of Gilead smote Ephraim because they said, yea, Galiadites are fugitives of Ephraim.
So they said, you Gileadites, y'all are fugitives of Ephraim. Y'all doing something different. Come on.
Among the Ephraimites and among the Manassanites.
Right, among the Manassanites. So Ephraim and Manasseh. Y'all fugitives. You want it. Come on.
And the Gileadites took the passage of Jordan before the Ephraimites. And it was so that when those Ephraimites which were escaped said, let me go over.
So they cut off the passage. But those Ephraimites which escaped, they said, when they come up, they're going to say, let me go over. Read.
That the men of Gilead said unto him, art thou an Ephraimite?
That the men, they cut it off so that when they get there, the men could go, are y'all Ephraimites? Read.
If he said nay.
If he said nay, if he go, no, I'm not an Ephraimite, because he trying to, remember, they fugitives, right? It's in war. So he going, I'm not an Ephraimite. Read.
Then said they unto him.
Then they're going to ask him a question. Read.
Say now, Shibboleth.
They go, well, you Ephraimites, you say Shibboleth. Say that word to me. Read.
And he said, Shibboleth.
Go ahead.
For he could not frame to pronounce it right.
So he couldn't pronounce words right. Like the word that they wanted to pronounce, they could not frame it right. They couldn't pronounce it right because they have a certain characteristic, a certain ensign about their household. Like today, you have a bunch of Ephraimites out there. Shout out to the Ephraimite brothers. They might break down the scripture, then you hear them speaking with an accent. That's all it is.
Right.
But the scriptures is pointing out that was going to be their characteristics anyway. Ain't that the perfect way God made it? They're showing you right now Ephraimites can't frame words like normally. They have a certain way that they speak. Read it again.
The book of Judges, chapter 12 and verse 6. Then said they unto him, say now, Shibboleth. And he said, Sibboleth. For he could not frame to pronounce it right. Then they took him and slew him at the passages of Jordan.
It was serious out there, man. Come on.
And there fell at that time of the Ephraimites 42,000.
So, when the number that they just gave you let you know what? It was a lot. The number, we're reading this. He attached a number to it. It shows you that it wasn't a coincidence that their speech was that way. It's not a coincidence. Yeah, they speaking like that. That's an ensign. Congratulations. That's an ensign. All right? It's a characteristic that we can look upon and go and judge by it. If they get judged by it, the Most High allowed them to get judged by that characteristic, by that ensign. So simple. So easy. If you have the Spirit of Christ, you can see this. You go, oh, wow. What are the ensigns today? Because you see somebody going, saying chart, but in all actuality, it's an ensign because it's based upon the characteristics of where the bulk of these folks are at. And what they're doing. Judah, neck of the enemy. What's the characteristic of a Judite? What's the characteristic of a Benjamite? What's the characteristic of an Ephraimite? What's the characteristic of Issachar? If I was to ask a brother, I go, yo man, I can go anywhere. We've been all over this country, man. This godforsaken country. And ask people the same question. Hey man, when you look at a Mexican, man, what are you thinking about them? Oh, they work hard. What kind of job they do, man? What kind of profession are they in? Lawn care, construction, gardening, you name whatever, something, it's a characteristic. It ain't saying every single one of them are that, but it's showing you they have a knack, they have an ensign for their Father's house to do these things.
And one thing we try to explain to brothers too, that when we show the ensign of the chart or whatever they want to call it, these are just future prophecies of the characteristics that Israel, Jacob, the father of the 12 tribes, he was telling them, he was explaining to them their characteristics. Like, as people are parents, you understand the characteristics of your children. So he understood the prophecies, of the bulk of the Israelites, so forth, and when he was showing it. And that's what people don't understand about how the characteristics are with the ensign.
Yeah, we gotta, for Israel, for y'all folks, man, what we're doing, we're developing it. It's still in development for you. It's an ebook. It's a guide to the 12 tribes. It's an ebook. All right, we're taking our time with it because we want to put it out there through the Spirit to show the characteristics of our people. It's so diverse, so many colors. So speckled. Yeah. That it's beautiful. Yeah. But to the ignorant mind, to go and say, no, these are not our people, they don't understand what we're talking about. Everybody that's in Mexico is not an Israelite. Exactly. Everybody that's in Puerto Rico is not an Israelite. Everybody in America is not an Israelite. You can't walk. We had brothers that walked up on us and you wouldn't even know that they were, you would swear up and down they're an Edomite. Yep. Both parents are from the slave trade, and both parents are black. You never know it. The point is, you have to really understand that things are being done through the Spirit, through prophecy. That's why this is up there. All right? That's why you see it up there. We're commanded to bring it out there. All right? We'll get there. But know this much first, all right? Write this down in y'all notes out there. The way that you understand the tribes and their existence and where they're at today, the bulk, is three components that we use to track it. The first one you write down is their birth. The name means a lot. The first is the birth. The second, anybody know? The prophecy. Like when you read in Genesis 49. in other parts of the Bible. We just highlight Genesis 49 because this is where you can go at it and easily explain it to folks. But you can go throughout Chronicles, you can go throughout Leviticus, you can go out through Deuteronomy, you can go in Genesis. Newsflash, and find it.
Yeah, I was talking to the brother yesterday, brother in Venezuela, and he was telling me how basically how things bad over there. He was telling me how they have a whole lot of oil. Like they got a lot of oil in there. So I was telling him, I was like, yeah, I know, because it tell you their tribe will be on the land that's like fruitful like that. So I showed him the scripture where it said Asher should dip his foot in oil.
Right. Yeah. I know it blew his mind away. You think they patrolling all through Antarctica and stuff for nothing? You think they taking South America and going around that crescent for nothing? They know what's there. We're the simple ones. We're the ones that don't know anything. You're not told these things because you're a commodity yourself. So the second component is the prophecy, just like JB was saying. You got the oil there. The third, blessings. The third, blessings, which you read what Moses blessed the tribes with. That's what you use as a base roadmap to understanding who are the tribes and where they today. That was given to us as a gift. All praise to the Most High. He sent Christ to have that thing illuminated. Because if not, we will be lost completely. So you have these components: the birth, the prophecy, the blessings. That's how you know who the tribes are in its essence, are based upon their ensigns, their characteristics. And that's how the tribes can be pointed out. Now, newsflash to you good folks out there in social media and video land who never like to move nowhere, who never like to go to the streets, who don't do anything. You're not going to understand this anyway. You will never understand it because you don't have boots to the ground. And those who do have boots to the ground and teaching against it, you'll never understand it because you're not keeping commandments. Point blank. Now, we will sit down and have a discussion. We open it up with anybody. We will open up a discussion with anyone.
You know what? One scripture I want to pull that really has been, and I really wanted to pull it last night with those brothers. And this is what we always constantly tell everybody. Give me the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 6, verse 32 for a second. I just want to be brief with this because when you're not humble and learning, that's one thing about learning. When we learn, we have to humble ourselves and be serious about it. If you don't know something, you don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, but when you start to think that you know something, you start throwing in sacrifice with fools. You know, Scripture talks about that. But when we go to Ecclesiastes 6:32, this is what we try to make these people understand. Even people out there that's learning. This is a key component to learning. Read.
The book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 32.
Right.
My son.
Or daughter, because the Bible is written in masculine form. It says, my son, read.
If thou wilt, thou shalt be taught.
Because remember, we're the teachers at the end of the day. So we're trying to show you something, to try to expound, to illuminate, brothers and sisters. He said, thou shalt be taught, read.
And if thou wilt apply thy mind.
If you apply your mind by humbling yourself to the scriptures, humbling is okay. Like the other saying, you just have to have the patience. That's one of the fruits of the Spirit to learn, to want to learn. I can just find fault and say, okay, I'm going to just go at this. You have no idea what you're talking about. Read on.
Thou shalt be prudent.
Prudent means to be wise. Because once you learn and you start to apply, it's okay, this is what this is talking about. Read on.
If thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding.
That's how you gain understanding, by learning to hear, understand what it's talking about. Then you can show through the prophecies. You know, then you can understand the blessings, understand why it is these things are happening to our people. You know, I just want to bring that point out. Was that it on that?
And if thou bind thine ear, thou shalt be wise.
Because if you bound your ear and start listening, stop talking. That's when these cats one day want to talk. Talk. Not listening, not understanding. The biggest thing that was told to me when I first came was I ain't knew nothing. And I accepted it.
That's the biggest thing. You come in, you realize, man, I don't know nothing. I better sit back and be quiet.
Just listen.
Because it's just like, go back to what we were saying. A lot of times people come in, they gun ho. You talking up a storm. And you got people who've been in this truth pushing on the grounds, and they just looking at you going, gosh, you got a long way to go. Yeah. You gotta start somewhere. But you gotta realize something. In listening, in learning, it's a blessing right there. Because you can humble yourself to the scriptures. You can say, okay, let me see what they're saying. Not, oh, you know what? I mean, brothers, and this was kills me too.
Right.
You think you're the first person to say it. That gets me all the time. I'm looking at mine. Well, you know what? I just want to bring something out to you, brothers. Okay, what you want to bring out? The Mexicans, they're not Israelites. Got them. Fist bump. Wow, you're the first person to say that. You must thought we just woke up one day and just decided to start reading the Bible and teaching. Newsflash. It's been said so many times by ignorant people, it's been retracted. Some people have said that and had to go, you know what? Nah, I got to retract my statement because now I understand what's being taught. We're not saying that every person is an Israelite. We're saying whose fathers are of Negroid and native descent. They are the Israelites because they were born here. We're not saying that they're different people at all. I'm going to say it again. We're not saying that they're different people at all. All right? What we're saying is they're the same. One and the same. Why are we saying that? Because they were brought here. Oh, we're going to get there. Let's go to the master. Luke chapter 15. Luke chapter 15. See, you know, they don't realize what also adds validity. The Lord said, I have sheep, other sheep which are not of this fold. Who is that? Because we know it, the Lord ain't come for everybody. So who are the other sheep that's not of this fold? You have a problem. Because if you say that there's no northern kingdom, guess what? You're opening up the kingdom for everybody. Luke 15, verse 11.
The book of Luke, chapter 15 and verse 11.
Come on.
And he said, a certain man had two sons.
A certain man had two sons. Newsflash, this is the prodigal son. But the prodigal son is talking about Judah and Israel. A certain man had two sons. Read.
And the younger of them said to his father.
Who would be the younger? Give me a name on for him. Ephraim. Israel. The younger of the two. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, that's one fold, and the rest of the tribes is underneath that. It's underneath Ephraim. Ephraim is the younger bunch. Read it again.
Book of Luke, chapter 15 and verse 12. And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. And not many days after the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country.
That far country is known as Astaroth, which, please do not fall for the tricks of saying it's America. It's the Caribbeans. They got spread throughout the Caribbeans and the Americas. They got spread there because of not keeping commandments. That's part of the curses. They got taken to the Caribbeans. All right. Now we're gonna show y'all a clip because there's another lie that states that people came through the Bering Strait. How many people heard that lie? The Bering Strait. Anybody know where the Bering Strait is at? It's up there by Alaska, Russia, Asia. Let's be honest. Let me be technical. Somebody gonna email me. Asia. In Alaska. You heard that before? The Bering Strait.
I was still absolutely optimistic as I could be. Jeff, who had actually already sailed the Northwest Passage, was less keen. He was getting really fed up with the machine. So he was dog paddling along to show how slow it was going to be going. And he was not convinced he was going to make it. But hey, optimism gets you through, and I was going to be as optimistic as possible. And then it stopped. And there was a scream of fire from the engine room.
We were in the front pod, and all of a sudden we heard screaming from Norm, and there was a fire in the engine room. They shut off the engine, fortunately really quickly. Smoke came billowing out, and we're stopped right here, balanced in between. We got out, and the arm that we're so worried about connecting the two vehicles together is cracked very badly at the back, and there's quite a controversy going on between our Russian people and the Arctos people, whether it should be welded here or taken further.
No, won't repair.
Yeah, you
Sit down.
he just wants to go.
Yeah. Okay. Now.
But being in the Soviet Union, or Russia, as it generally just was, is an extraordinary knowledge of what you can actually do. And it wasn't long before they'd put a complete welding machine in. They'd sent mechanics out from Lavrentiya into the middle of this nowhere. And we went back to Lavrentiya so that we could get some rest, whilst the Russian teams were brought in to sort it out and fix it up. Doc Ford was pretty convinced we'd never make it.
Just look at this place. We're only 2 kilometres out into the Bering Straits. This place looks like hell. These guys are absolutely knackered. They've been in that thing for 5 days, and Bruce still wants to go on. They're absolutely shattered. They cannot go any further. This is no joke, and I don't know how we're going to do it. You just look at those ice formations, and you look at that ridge out there, and you just think, this is no game. It's not a game for an Airfix toy. No way.
They cannot cross that with equipment, with man-made equipment. They can't just tote across that ice or that water with man-made brute force equipment. The video shows it. They tried it. The Edomites, Edomites, they're gonna do everything. God ain't say, "Oh my gosh." He said, this is impossible. Because of the way that the Bering Strait is set up, there's a current there that forces a sheet of ice through there. So you may try to start out on an ice block and end up somewhere all the way out of the way. Number 2, Ymir Pula article, Smithsonian. It's going to destroy the lie. No one came to the Americas through the Bering Strait. That's a lie. Let's go to the Smithsonian. Let's read it.
This is the Smithsonian.com. First humans entered the Americas along the coast, not through the ice.
Whoa, read it again.
The title says, first humans entered the Americas along the coast, not through the ice.
Along the coast. Along the coast, not the ice. Oh, we got some trouble. Come on.
It says, evidence mounts against the traditional story of early human migration through an ice corridor.
Talking about the Bering Strait. Evidence has now mounted against them that no humans, the early humans, did not migrate through an ice corridor. They finally telling you this. But in schools, they was teaching. Yep, you had Eskimos. Yep. They came through the Bering Strait. That's a lie now. See how you have to really vet everything with the Bible and not with man's ideology? Because you go back 20 years ago, every fool was yelling Bering Strait. Now the evidence is just consistently mounting up. The Most High is putting it out there. No, they ain't come through there. Now what? Because they usually say, see, they'll put up they'll take a so-called Native American, and they will put him up next to a Chinese person. And they'll say, see, they look alike. You have failed because both of them are not Israel. What happens to what has happened, and if you, I guarantee you, you so-called Native Americans, man, who they call Indians, you Indian tribal members, you reach out to us. I guarantee you, we were on the Indian Reserve many years. And those folks told us, man, directly, they have on ribbon of blue and Frenches. He said a lot of people claim to be, want to be Indian to reap the benefits of our reservations that the government has given us. He said you got a lot of people perpetrating to be Indians. They filled out paperwork from the government and put their DNA on file with the government and claimed to be Indian. It was a law that passed where they were able to do that. So you have people that's Edomites, Moabites, anybody talking about I'm Indian. That ain't the ones. You seen the real boys stand up there when they went up into D.C. He say, man, listen, we got a common enemy. They had to usher him off of that jump quick. He knew. But they have mingled so many years. They were, you don't realize their mingling started further back. Where I'm going, Uriel? Ezekiel what? Ezekiel 17. Now, when y'all see the clips, you can feel free to email us. Guess what? At the end of the day, what we're speaking is true. We're going to continue reading about this from the Smithsonian, and we're going to hit Luke. But we want to point out a prophecy. Remember, you got to have the Spirit of Christ.
And one thing about Gadites, and y'all need to know about Gadites, they're ready for war.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the biggest characteristics of Gadites. They're ready to do it now.
I tell a story all the time, man. We was in San Bernardino. Man, the Gadite got off the bus. He was listening. He was hearing everything. He was soaking it up. And you could tell, man, he was getting hyped. He started pacing and jumping. We like, man, should we just keep hyping this dude up? You know, I'm gonna hype you up, man. I'm going, they stole everything from you, brother. Boy, this man dug in his pocket, pulled out some Street Fighter gloves. He came up, he said, listen, what do y'all need to do? What do y'all need to do? Who do we attack first? We had to dial him back, say, bro, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. Not yet, not yet. Slow down. He was in the mind state of we gotta die for what we believe in.
And he was at work.
And he was at work. He was just ready to come out his little bus clothes and everything. Street Fighter gloves on, spikes, all kind of junk. You ain't never know he was carrying none of that. What are you carrying that? You driving bus. Why do you have this, sir? He's ready. I respected him to the finest level. Every time I seen him, he hunked it. Every time he saw us, he'd throw his little power glove up. Let me know when y'all ready. I don't care about nothing. I just need to know who y'all sent me on.
Right.
That's a spirit, though.
Yeah. That's one of their characteristics.
He shall not break rank, man. Nobody can really pick up on this because you're not in spirit. That's why. Ezekiel 17. Let's see if you spiritual people can pick up on this. Verse 1.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 17 and verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying,
come on,
Son of man, put forth a riddle and speak a parable unto the house of Israel.
What's a riddle, Jake? We ain't talking about the guy with the green hat and stuff.
With the question mark.
It's a similar to.
Yeah, so like you have a riddle. If somebody gives you a riddle, it's like a what? What is it, bro?
Question in a statement?
No, like if you have to solve a riddle, it's like a puzzle. It's something in there that you have to figure out because it's written in a way, in a mysterious way. Okay. So the Lord is commanding a mystery to be put out. Now you better pay attention. Read.
Verse 3. And say, thus saith the Lord God.
Come on.
A great eagle with great wings.
What?
A great eagle with great wings.
Uh-oh. A great eagle with great wings. Read.
Long wing.
Long wing. Write this down in your notes. This is talking about the Assyrians. If you were to Google up an Assyrian eagle, he's got long wings and a man head sitting on top of it. We can see it now because hindsight is 2020. You have the Spirit of Christ because you can see prophecies. Great eagle, long wing. Read.
Full of feathers.
Full of feathers. Come on.
Which had diverse colors.
Which had diverse colors. Y'all gonna be holding a lot tonight.
You're going to be holding
A lot. Let's go to why say diverse colors.
This is chapter 37 and verse 3. It says something, these key words that we have to pay attention to.
Come on.
The book of Genesis, chapter 37 and verse 3.
Okay.
Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children.
What Joseph translates to, Anab? Ephraim. Come on.
Because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceable until him. And Joseph dreamed a dream.
Hold on. I don't know if it probably blew over some of you croonies right now.
Right.
You conked on the head so bad that it's not even funny. Joseph, who represents Ephraim, the northern kingdom, he gets a coat of many colors, diverse colors. I don't think you realize, no, we're not talking about cross colors, Toby. Colors back then meant a lot, all right? It's expensive to have a coat of many colors. Do you realize that? Where you getting your purples from? Where you getting your blues from? All right? When you do the history, they had to pull certain colors out of the sea and bleach it in the clothes with their woven clothes. That's how they did it. All right? So another topic. The point is, that son, Joseph, who is Ephraim, is given a coat of many colors. Do you think that's by coincidence just because he just gave him that coat? Or not?
No. Well, we just read that it's a riddle.
It's a riddle. It's a riddle.
Now jump down to verse 32. This is going to clear it up for you. Now, you know, the picture's being painted.
The book of Genesis, chapter 37 and verse 32.
Come on.
And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father, and said, This have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it, and said, It is my son's coat. An evil beast had devoured him.
Whoa, what?
An evil beast had devoured him.
Uh-oh. Whoa. So we got some riddles going on, y'all. We got Joseph, who represents Ephraim, northern kingdom. He's been given a coat of many colors. Now, he gets sold off, right? You know the story. And he can bring his coat back. They bring his coat back and say, what? What they say, Ymir?
And he knew it, and said, It is my son's coat. An evil beast had devoured him.
And now he's showing you that an evil beast had devoured him. Even though that wasn't true. The evil beast did not devour him. But he has an evil beast that's chewing him up. Why is he not devoured fully? Uriel. What stopped him from being devoured fully? What stopped him from being devoured fully is the one. That's it. He's the one that's got to pull him out of his madness. He's got to pull him out of his madness. He's being devoured by the beast. Even though we know the story of Joseph is not true, but this is a similitude. When you look at Joseph's life, it's a similitude of the northern kingdom. Go back to Luke. He got divers. No, I'm sorry. Go back to Ezekiel. Go back to Ezekiel. He got a coat of divers colors. Beasts devoured him and all kinds of stuff. Ezekiel 17.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 17 and verse 3. And say, thus saith the Lord God,
come on,
a great eagle with great wings, long winged, full of feathers, which had diverse colors, came unto Lebanon, and took the highest branch of the cedar.
Lebanon is the northern portion of Israel. And it took the highest branch of the cedars. Took who got taken? By this great eagle. Okay, representing who? Representing Ephraim. Come on.
Verse 4.
Remember, this is a riddle for you people out there who may have the Spirit of Christ. Come on.
He cropped off the top of his young twigs and carried it until a land of traffic. He set it in a city of merchants. He took also of the seed of the land and planted it in a fruitful field.
He took the seed of the land and planted it in a fruitful field. Showed you that they were doing what? A knob. He took the seed and planted it in a fruitful field.
Filling the world, so the seed was taken to another place.
Mixed. Brothers were mixed.
Prosperous land.
It mingled the Holy Seed.
What is it, Jay?
It mingled the Holy Seed.
JB, we didn't even call on you.
No, you don't.
We already know you know this. Yeah, that's his tribe. That's his tribe. Like, just give me my tribe. Yeah, they mingled this. They were in that captivity, mixing with the Assyrians, mixing with the other nations, the mingled people. That's what they were doing. Come on.
He placed it by great waters and set it as a willow tree.
And so, if he placed it by great waters, other nations, and set it as a willow tree, how's a willow tree? What's the characteristics of a willow tree?
They drop.
It looks what? It looks droopy, sad, right? It looks withered away. Yeah, dying. Beautiful word. Read.
And it grew and became a spreading vine.
Yeah, but it grew and became a spreading vine. Come on.
Of low stature.
Of low stature. So, what did it take from him, Daniel? What did it take from him?
They took it from the Holy Seed, one, and then they took it where they went. They took away the height.
What's it talking about? Low stature. Stature.
The height of the seeds in the wilderness.
The height.
Because when you look at most of them, they short.
That's not what you have to realize of low stature. It's taken away from the characteristics of how the Most High made the Israelites. So it says low stature. So when you're looking at somebody, we're going so-called black and Hispanic native, you're going, they don't look like us.
Right.
It's because they've been mixing in the Assyrian captivity, and guess what else? They mixed in. You got it, T. What you got?
But that also had to do with when Joseph and his brothers came to Egypt, they didn't recognize him.
Yeah. I mean, it's all a similitude.
Right. So that's why we can't.
They didn't recognize him. He had the dream that he had to get his brothers. His brothers were gonna come to him.
Right.
Yeah. What they don't understand is when you Northern Kingdom brothers and sisters, when y'all fully cycle through, we out of here.
Yep.
They don't even understand that. When y'all fully come in, that number is reached. Goodbye.
Because Ephraim, number one, is the head of the northern kingdom. Go ahead.
Right.
What was Hosea chapter 7? Verse 8.
The book of Hosea, chapter 7 and verse 8. Ephraim had mixed himself among the people.
So it say Ephraim mixed himself among the people. A lot of Israelites will say this is when the conquistadors came over to this side and did it. But no, we know it started way back in the Assyrian captivity. That's when the mixing first started. Read.
Ephraim is a cake not turned.
We always use the example of pancake. The side that's cooking is dark. The top side is a very, very light color. So they're going to come in multiple colors from dark to real, real light. In which they'll look like a Edomite sometimes, but they're still Israelites. Come on.
Strangers have devoured his strength.
When it says strangers have devoured his strength, we just was reading in Ezekiel 17. The appearance of them has changed. Because we know that all Israelites were darkened ones. But once they started mingling with the other nations, starting in Assyria, and even more when they came over here, they got lighter and lighter to the point it became confusion of faces, the scriptures say. Is that it?
No. And he knoweth it not. Yea, gray hairs are here and there upon him, yet he knoweth not.
All right. So gray hairs is here and there upon him. That should let you know right then and there. You have inklings when you look at them and go, you know, they look like, is your daddy black? Ask those questions. Yeah, inklings is there. But go back to Ezekiel.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 17 and verse 6.
Come on.
And it grew and became a spreading vine of low stature,
come on,
whose branches turned toward him, and the roots thereof were under him. So it became a vine and brought forth branches and shot forth sprigs.
So children are coming up. Mixed children, as you would want to call them, but you still are of the seed of your father. You still who you are is of your father. If your father's an Israelite, you're an Israelite. So imagine all that chaos going on. People mixing and mingling and stuff. You got Israel in the midst of it. Read.
Verse 7. There was also another great eagle with great wings and many feathers. And behold.
Whoa. We got to slow down. There was also another eagle. Now it's talking about America. It's also another eagle. It's talking about America. Now, so you got two eagles. One Assyrian. They messing with this northern kingdom. Now it's the second eagle. Read.
There was also another great eagle with great wings and many feathers. And behold, this vine did bend her roots.
And he had many feathers too, y'all. We'll go over those feathers in one another topic. These are different feathers. Read.
Behold, this vine did bend her roots toward him.
Come on.
And shot forth her branches toward him.
Come on.
That he might water it by the furrows of her plantations.
Whoa. What? Did that not happen? They fit the curses that he might water them, though. Indoctrinate them by the plantation. So they were working. While they were working, letters would come in. If you say that this picture right here is Christ, and you become a Christian, we're gonna go ahead on and accept you, and you will be free.
Right, like they call them those safe houses in these in the Catholic Church.
Right.
If you head there, if you
was in one of those safe houses, they couldn't touch you. They couldn't slave you.
They couldn't touch you.
Now we're here in Virginia. Down in Jamestown, they got a book showing you the indoctrination of the Negroes. It's in the intro.
And they have a law here on record that says that the natives and the so-called Negroes are the same people.
Yep.
So a lot of people don't know a lot of things, a lot of hidden history they would never tell you. And this is why we keep trying to tell our brothers that there's a sword against the Ensign. How long ago was that? How long ago was that? That was way before the so-called whatever they want
to say. Oh, you have a chart. That's we talking 1600, buddy.
Exactly.
Read.
Verse 8. It was planted in good soil by great waters, that it might bring forth branches, and that it might bear fruit, that it might be a godly vine, goodly
That
vine.
it might be a goodly vine. Remember, when we go to 2nd Ezra 13, their whole premise was they wanted to come in and keep the laws over here. That's why I say it was planted. The Lord planted a good soil. Okay, you want to do that? Go. Now, you're not keeping no laws though. So what's going to come upon you? Curses. Read on.
Say thou, thus saith the Lord God, shall it prosper?
Shall it prosper? You wanted to come here and do the laws, but you didn't. Shall it prosper? Remember, this is a riddle. Read.
Shall he not pull up the roots thereof?
Shall he not pull up the roots thereof? You still an Israelite, man. This man gonna grind you to powder. Read.
And cut off the fruit thereof?
And did he kill over 77 million? Read.
That it wither? It shall wither in all the leaves of her spring, even without great power or many people to pluck it up.
Oh, so what it's showing you is that it didn't take a lot of folks to get over here to start doing the damage. It said them leaves are going to wither. The leaves is talking about the children. All right? For another topic, you cronies. Read.
By the roots thereof.
Come on.
Yea, behold, being planted, shall it prosper?
No, it's not. We know that. We're living it. Come on.
Shall it not utterly wither when the east wind toucheth it?
That's your clue right there, Jay. The east wind toucheth it? Which way did Columbus come from?
From the east.
From the east. From the east. So this is a slick riddle that the Most High put forth. If you have the Spirit of Christ, you can see it all day. If you don't, you hit.
And you know what? I think I pulled this before. When you go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 49 and verse 50, the east wind, you look at the east wind. I mean, we don't have to go back. I just wanted to bring that point out. If you want to go there. To couple what the elder was saying with that, I just have to say, because the east wind, like we said with Columbus, because remember, Columbus understood something. You go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 49, he says something.
Yeah, go ahead.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 49.
Right.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
Because that's what happened. During that time, he brought a nation, Edom, from afar. Like the elder was saying, when you talk about the east wind, read on.
From the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
From the eastern hemisphere to the western hemisphere, as we know it today. Read on.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Wow. That's why they had to bring a Hebrew interpreter. Okay? Read on.
A nation of fierce continents.
Hey, look, just like the eagle, right? The fierce continents, just like the eagle looks. With fierce continents, read on.
Which shall not regard the person of the old.
Oh, we know the story. Read on.
Nor show favor to the young.
That's what happened. As swift as the eagle flies, you're dealing with the eagle, Spain. Then we're dealing with the great eagle here in America. Okay, I just want to bring that quick little point out. Just to
I don't know how you can get around these prophecies. It's so clear to those who have the Spirit of Christ on them. Now, keep this in mind because somebody still lost. Go back to Luke. Read verse 11 again.
The book of Luke, chapter 15 and verse 11.
Come on.
And he said, a certain man had two sons.
A certain man had two sons. Come on.
And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country.
He took his journey into a far country. Come on.
And there wasted his substance with riotous living.
And there, in this far country, he wasted his substance. His substance is supposed to be the commandments. With riotous living in this far country. All right. Let's go back to that article, Ymir. They know that they didn't come here through the Bering Strait.
The Smithsonian.com, it says, the traditional story of human migration in the Americas goes like this. A group of Stone Age people moved from the area of modern-day Siberia to Alaska.
What? So you mean to tell me they came across the Bering Strait? Which today they cannot do because you have to realize something. Equipment, modern day technology, it's hard for that equipment to cross the Bering Strait. How can people do it in the Stone Age just walking? Let's say you had an animal, still gonna die. The conditions are, it's not habitable. A wind subject to go, you couldn't even anchor things down. It's a task that was looked upon, like they're showing you, they had to reevaluate it. They're still studying it, going, nah, that's kind of difficult right there. You mean to tell me you gotta walk 900 miles or something like that on a moving sheet of ice?
Below zero.
Come on, man.
Below zero.
Yeah, I mean, who can do that?
Like the penguins in that commercial.
Yeah, even them penguins probably be like, man, the heck with this, man. We gonna stay on where we're at.
Read on. When receding ocean waters created a land bridge between the two continents across the Bering Strait. Once across, the giant Laurentide and Cordilleran ice sheets which blocked southern Alaska and the Yukon Territory in western Canada halted the migrants' progress.
That's how they say it. Go ahead.
But about 13,000 years ago, the ice sheets began retreating.
It's for another topic, y'all. Whenever science throws out numbers like that, know this much. They're doing radiocarbon dating. Radiocarbon dating is false. The reason why, as you still try to go backwards and do the dating, the sun is still introducing carbon-13, which they try to use to date. It comes from the sun. So, newsflash, you still, right now, you might not see anything, but carbon-13 is still floating around. So as they doing their testing, the element that they're testing is still being introduced. So everything they do is can do an estimation, a guess. It's not accurate. How you gonna look 14 billion years ago? We have this rock right here. It's from 14 billion years ago. The man did a study on it. He said, okay, let's trick them behind. You got a rock that one penny said was 14 million. He said, okay. He took another rock that he found on the ground and brought it in there and say, radiocarbon date this right here. And the guy said, well, wow, this looks like it's about 2 billion years old. They said, nah, I found this rock outside. What's the problem? The head. Right. That's why I had to reevaluate it. They're reevaluating all this stuff, man. Read on.
But about 13,000 years ago, the ice sheets began retreating, opening a 900-mile-long ice-free corridor following the Canadian Rockies. This, many researchers believe, is how the Clovis culture moved south and colonialized other parts of the Americas.
Excuse me. So you want me to believe 13,000 years ago, a corridor of ice opened up. Just a special corridor that's going to lead you right to the Americas. You got to be the most very much ignorant person to believe that. They know that's not true. They're going, we're not believing that. Read.
But new evidence has made that timeline hazy over the last decade.
Read on.
Research shows that humans were living south of the ice sheets before the ice-free corridor opened up.
See, they can't figure it out. They're going, man, it's got to be something because you got people living south of there before that. That's why you never follow man. Because now, somebody who believed in their ideology, going back over it again, talking about, that's not the case. See where the problem's at? All this stuff that they try to put out there is only to discredit the Bible. That's what you got to see. And the people who are following these things, they don't believe in the Bible, man. They don't even have the Spirit of Christ on them. That's why you have brothers jumping up in Israel talking about, oh, yeah, you know what, there's no northern kingdom over here. Okay. 2nd Ezra 13. You gotta hit this stuff over and over and over.
As a matter of fact, this particular scripture, if you look at the movie 1492, remember when he made a statement in that movie, and Columbus said Esdras.
Why did you wish to sail west?
To open a new route to Asia. Asia is the richest kingdom, the land of spices and gold. At the moment, there are only two ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year. Or by land. But the Turks have closed this route to all Christians. There is a third way. By sailing west across the ocean sea.
The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite.
Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands.
How can you be so certain?
The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras.
Esdras is a Jew.
So what's worse?
2 minutes, and already you're a dead man.
For telling the truth?
Yes. We are burning people for less. The man you're about to confront.
And the man said, you know that he's a Jew. So when you look at that, or Idris. Anyway, when you look at that movie, you see that clip, understand Hollywood does know the truth. And what it shows you is how Columbus himself knew that it was people already over here based on the Apocrypha. That's why the Apocrypha is very much authoritative.
Read.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 13 and verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea, the king whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
Salmanasar, king of Assyria, led them away captive. Newsflash, y'all, you're seeing Ezekiel 17 right here. Play out. Come on.
But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would lead the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country.
This is what Christ said, man. Man had two sons, man. One went to a further country. One went to a far country. Come on.
Where never mankind dwelt.
Come on.
That they might there keep their statues, which they never kept in their own land.
Did they keep their statues? No. But you had these folks rain dancing, playing with fire, sacrificing animals to the wind gods, worshiping serpents and all kind of things.
That was one thing when the conquistadors came over here. When they went to the Mayans had statues erected of like a woman with a serpent head. So they were like, these people are wicked. Yeah. That's where they started slaughtering all of them. They used that basis right there on their statues and stuff. You look it up in history. But they actually was just using it for, you know where they got it from? Remember what Moses did? So they was using that serpent as symbolic of healing and medicine. You know, the white man thing, he was just said he was wicked and slaughtered all of them.
And he destroyed all the writings also.
He took the writing when he found out, oh, these are Hebrew people, because they knew they brought Hebrew people over. He took, and he knew they spoke Hebrew, and he said, well, we're going to destroy all this.
They built pyramids too.
They built pyramid structures and everything. A lot of them. But for another topic, this is a news flash to y'all. There was a world before this world that you're in right now. I'm gonna just leave it there. Read on.
Verse 43. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river, For the Most High then showed signs for them, and he held still the flood.
Come on.
Till they were passed over.
Come on.
For though that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Assyria.
Yeah, Ashtaroth. Come on, read on.
Then dwelt they there until the latter time.
They're going to dwell there until the latter times. We're in latter times. Read.
And now, when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again.
Come on.
That they may go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace.
So that peaceable multitude is also known, newsflash, as the Gentiles. Still the Israelites. The Most High is going to bring them right back. Why? Back to Luke. Oh yeah, 13.
The book of Luke, chapter 15 and verse 13. And not many days after the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land.
Come on.
And he began to be in want. And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country. And he sent him into his fields to feed swine.
If he went to join himself to a citizen of that country, what did he do ultimately? What's the word we're looking for? He did what? Mixed.
Mixed. Okay, mixed.
Mixed. Mingled. Interracial. Biracial. Read.
Verse 16. And he would fain have filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat.
See, he would fain have filled his belly with the husk that the swine eat. Man, you did not see nothing wrong. Come on.
And no man gave unto him.
But no man gave unto him, meaning no man corrected him. No man corrected them. So you got 300 years of them just living crazy from another captivity from 700 years before that. So they just wilded out. Read.
Verse 17. And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare?
What's the key? He came to himself. He be thinking. When they start to be thinking, they're going, well, how many hired servants of my father is there?
It was an article that was pulled, we did on Monday, about how now the New Mexico, like the Hispanics down there, are starting to see who they really are, because they're saying they're starting to wake up. So wait a minute, we were part of a slave trade, because as you know, they was taught they was never in slavery. So when we pulled that article out, I think I sent it to Jake, get an opportunity, we can show it to people, show that this right here plays in the prophecy. Now they're starting to realize, wait a minute, we were a part of the slave trade, so now we fit the curses. Even they know that now.
Arriving in Mexico, including African slaves, were unloaded here.
It was called the Key of New Spain, the port of San Juan de Ulúa.
Judith Hernandez studies the archaeology of Veracruz, and Sagrario Cruz Carretero is a professor of anthropology at the University of Veracruz. Both are helping me imagine the arrival of hundreds of thousands of slaves through this very port.
How long did it take to get to Veracruz from the ports in Africa?
Some records mention 2 months.
That's a long time to be in a steam bath.
Right, and I found 20% of the load died.
And in the 16th and early 17th centuries, 1 out of every 2 slaves bound for the Americas disembarked in Mexico. In fact, in the year 1553, Viceroy Luis Velasco asked King Charles of Spain to curtail the trade, fearing an uprising. And with good reason. Until 1650, the number of blacks and mulattoes was roughly equal to the number of white people living here.
These are rings to which they tie their ships.
They're heavy.
The port didn't have a pier or docks. The ships arrived directly here.
Aquí.
What would happen when the slaves arrived? They would be checked medically?
There were paid surgeons to review the blacks, and the checkup consisted of licking the beard.
They lick there? That sounds nasty. Ah, why?
The sweat conserved salt, so if it was salty, that meant they had good blood pressure.
How much did the slaves cost?
From 150 pesos to 400.
Oh.
Let me compare.
Okay.
A house costs 400 pesos.
Oh, wow. So a slave in a house. That's a lot.
It was a luxury.
This is what the slaves would have seen first, after surviving the treacherous Middle Passage. Here they encountered a new country, a new language, and a new life as someone else's property.
These walls are covered with African blood because they were forced to construct this gorgeous building after the indigenous population decreased because illness. And they were forced to dive into the ocean and get these stones because they are made of coral.
I see, coral,
yes,
yeah.
Yes, it's coral. And many of them died in this process. It's a history of death and a history of invisibility.
So this is the fingerprint of black history in Mexico.
Right.
It's right here.
Right, definitely.
Death and invisibility.
By the end of the 17th century, interracial relationships were on the rise. The Catholic Church allowed marriage between all groups. The law granted freedom to the children of black slaves and indigenous women. White men increasingly impregnated black women.
They always begin with Spanish and Indian, that it makes mestizo. Then mestizo and Spanish castiza.
Castiza.
The third one is castiza and Spanish, makes Spanish.
Maria Elisa Velasquez is a professor of history and anthropology. These 18th century casta paintings were painted to show Europeans the diversity of the people here. These 16 images are a sort of an anthropological cookbook, showing the results of mixing the genes of black people, brown people, and white people.
What about me? Which one in the 16?
You will be here, look.
Let me see.
This one, a mulatto. The little kid, that's the mulatto.
The beautiful brown baby like me.
Yes, of course.
What would Barack Obama be?
Also a mulatto.
Okay, Beyonce, she would be mulata?
Yes.
What would Tiger Woods be?
A lobo with African descent blood and also indigenous blood.
These people were crazy.
Yes, they need pseudo-scientific reasons to explain why some cultures will be inferior and you have to make them slaves.
And they found it.
They found it.
16 shades of blackness.
Yes.
But why were your white people more willing to sleep with black people than my white people?
Quite well, because the culture of the Spanish church allowed the marriage between all the ethnic groups. And also the Spanish people have an heritage more open to the mixture because of the Arabic presence in Spain.
The Moors were in Spain for 800 years or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was kind of easy to have these mixtures. And I think that's a different story from the United States.
The blackest part of Mexico today is called the Costa Chica. It's on the Pacific coast, on the opposite side of the country from Veracruz. South of Acapulco and north of Puerto Escondido, the land is swampy and the towns are extremely poor. The Costa Chica has remained Mexico's blackest region for centuries because it was so isolated. There wasn't even a highway to get here until the 1950s. Born in Trinidad, Father Glenn Jamat has been ministering to congregations in the Costa Chica for the past 25 years. Part of Father Glenn's mission has been to raise black consciousness, even founding an annual conference of black towns. I wanted to learn from him how the Mexicans who can't pass as brown or cosmic relate to their blackness and their heritage of slavery.
The first occasion when I said a mass, a grown man
came and he said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I am the priest." And for about 10 minutes, he went on, "You're not a priest. You couldn't be a priest. I've never seen a black priest. We black people only work the land. We load trucks and whatever.
You can't be the head man."
Exactly. And he was really talking about himself. Everything is against an African Mexican seeing himself as someone who can lift his head and take his place in Mexican society.
Described as a black person, a Negro here in Mexico.
Claro. Of course. When you're little, nobody questions it. When you live here, when you go to Mexico City to study, you go to Acapulco, you go to the US, you realize you're different. That you're a Mexican, but you have something that's not the same as all Mexicans. You discover that you're black.
Do black people suffer discrimination here in Mexico?
Yes, we are a racist society. If you're in the cities, they stop you, ask you for your ID card, they make you sing the national anthem. And they could accuse you of coming from Cuba to destabilize things or something like that. It isn't said, but in every Mexican family there is a black person. And do you know what the city folks say? They say, he was born black, but we love him anyway.
And I perished with hunger.
He did what?
And I perished with hunger.
Does that sound familiar to you? They should be hungering and thirsting after righteousness. Their way is lost, man. Come on.
Verse 18. I will arise and go to my father, and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son.
What is he doing, Illyrian?
He's trying to repent.
That's it. Beautiful. He's repentant now. So who are you to shut that man off? Who are you to go, oh, you know what? You don't belong. Because Christ came for everybody. Repentance. Repentance. You know what? I got to go back to the Father. That means I'm going to return back to the commandments. Read.
Make me as one of thy hired servants.
But at this point now, with humility, he's saying, make me as one of thy hired servants. That's even more humble. That's why a lot of these brothers, man, you got to give props to, even with we saying Northern Kingdom, but they're some of the most humblest brothers you'll ever meet. They so gracious that the Most High was like, yo, we all in this together. They'll give you the shirt off their back, man. Read.
And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion.
He ain't make it yet, but he was yet a great way off. His father saw him and had compassion. The Most High has mercy, man, upon Israel. Come on.
And ran and fell on his neck and kissed him.
Come on.
And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son.
That's the belief. That's the fight. Because you have a brother that comes in, he may be Issachar, Zebulon, or whatever, and you going, hey man, we are the same nation. They going, nah, I'm not even worthy of that. I'm not even worthy to be lined up right here. I'm not worthy for the Most High to even have this. That's a mind state behind it. You got to see it for what it's worth. You can't see it because you're lost. Read.
Verse 22. But the father said to his servants, bring forth the best robe.
Come on.
And put it on him. And put a ring on his hand. And shoes on his feet. And bring hither that fatted calf. And kill it. And let us eat and be merry.
Come on.
For this my son was dead. And is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to marry.
Come on.
Now his elder son was in the field.
This is those folks who do not want to believe. This is those ignorant folks that's jealous, that can't see it. And I'm going to tell you like this, is a lot of that comes from, just like you saw it last night, it comes from these brothers, they come from their wives, it comes from them women. They look upon the northern kingdom and go, oh, you know what, I can't stand them. They jealous. They, for some odd reason, jealousy has hit them, and they just want to cut them off completely. Now, let me say this, because we're spiritual people. We can read that all day. I can look that up and say, oh, you know what? What's behind that? Because if you think about it, you only know that you're an Israelite by these curses. The same curses fit them. But you want to cut it off? There's an agenda behind it. You can then we so eloquently, the Most High allowed us to catch it.
Right.
Hey, don't give them that scripture. Give them this one. No, wait up. We gonna do that. Most High had our. See, you will never. You want to know something? You better stay spiritual. The connection can drop all at once. We could have been like, man, I'm tired of this connection. Our network keep dropping and everything, man. Forget it.
Right.
You don't know. The Most High would say, well, I would sit back going, the connection dropped. Be patient. Let's see if we can get it back up. Yeah. The connection come back. Oh, we got them.
Yeah, man, they running, man. See, they running.
They running, man.
We sitting right there, just listening to everything they say.
We got them. That's how the young, this little young tiger run.
Right.
We got them. Right. We're gonna run. Listen, let me put the message out to anybody in the entire world who's listening.
Right.
Anybody who got ears. We will never want from anyone, believe that. No. We're standing on the streets. Guess what? You can come to our camp location. Any one of them. Any brother in this organization will never run from nothing. Exactly. Because we're going to tell you to come stand before the doctrine. Believe that. But you embarrass yourself. The Most High is the one that do it. The Most High is the one that embarrass people, man. Now you on there, now you got all the brothers in Israel talking about, bro, you out of order. I know. Even sisters was jumping up. I mean, sisters came and say, oh my gosh. Sisters in Israel. They said, ooh. You heard them all. Hey, listen, we get the zeal and everything else. I'm gonna reach back out to them. Because that's what I do. Reach back out to them and say, congratulations. Y'all have made a fool of yourself, but now come on back and learn. Read.
Verse 25. Now his elder son was in the field, and as he came and drew nigh to the house, he heard music and dancing.
That's what they hear. They hear us singing music and dancing. We're telling the northern kingdom, the Ephraimites, all the rest of the tribes, welcome back home. Come keep these commandments.
Right.
We happy, yes. Some of them, some of these Judites, some of the southern kingdom, they mad. Read.
Verse 26. And he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said unto him, thy brother is come.
Whoa. He called one of the servants and asked, what does this mean? That's the same thing. They looking at the Ensign. What does this mean? Why you got this on there? Not knowing all that's bywords, buddy.
You got Mexicans on there.
Yeah, all that's bywords.
Right.
What does this mean? Read.
And he said unto him, thy brother is come, and thy father hath killed the fatted calf, because he had received him safe and sound. And he was angry and would not go in.
So now he mad and would not go in. He mad. He ain't a part of this.
Right.
Read.
Therefore came his father out and entreated him. And he answered, said to his father, lo, these many years do I serve thee, neither transgressed I at any time thy commandment.
We've always been Negroes.
Right.
Jacob is a Negro.
Right.
We in this. We always been here. Oh, that's right, huh? Read.
And yet thou never gavest me a king
You ain't never killed nothing for us. Ignorance, read.
That I might make merry with my friends.
Come on.
But as soon as this thy son was come,
soon y'all see these people come in. Read.
Which have devoured thy living with harlots, thou hast killed.
Say that again.
Which have devoured thy living with harlots.
Oh, they mixed. They done mixed with the holy seed. They're done.
Yup. Yup.
Not realizing that if you say that someone can be mixed and that they're finished, goodbye, because you just wiped out Christ.
Yep.
Goodbye.
And you just shut the kingdom of heaven up, and I don't want that blood on my hand.
Yeah, you finished. You might as well tie a millstone around your neck. Read.
Thou hast killed for him the fatted calf.
So when he come, you kill him the fatted calf. Come on.
And he said unto him, son.
He said unto him, son. This is what you Southern Kingdom folks have to understand. The master. They say, son. Read.
Thou art ever with me.
Thou art ever with me. The tents of Judah gonna rise first. Judah gonna be like God on earth. What do you have to envy? What do you have to really worry about? You're gonna be like God on earth. Read.
And all that I have is thine.
All that I have is thine. What do you have to worry about? That shows you they don't have the Spirit of Christ. Read.
It was meet that we should make merry.
It was meet. It means it was right that we should make merry. Come on.
And be glad.
Come on.
For this thy brother was dead.
Because your brother, man, was dead. The nation was cut off. Read.
And is alive again.
But now he's alive again, man. He keeping commandments. We're coming together again. Read.
And was lost.
He was lost.
And is found.
Now found. Why would you be mad at that? You would only be mad at that if you don't have the Spirit of Christ.
Exactly.
It's sort of like that. The 99 sheep, one got lost, Christ went and found it.
You're going to find that sheep.
Right.
But in this sense, talking about the whole nation.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's an honor to even be within this nation. So you can't try to turn off somebody and go, oh, you're not a part of this. Man, who are you? You might, one of these guys, watch what's going to happen. You're going to be one of these guys, a little letter going to come in the mail. Congratulations, you inherited $10 from your Edomite grandfather. Ain't that the perfect way of God made it, but somebody gonna get hit. Somebody gonna get hit, then they gonna bring in the doctrine. Then they gonna want everybody to be saved. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I bet. Esau everybody hit now. Esau turned into the Arab man and everything. Ezekiel 37. Ezekiel 37 verse 14.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 37 and verse 14.
Come on.
And shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then shall ye know that I, the Lord, have spoken it and performed it, saith the Lord.
The Lord saying he's not just about talk. It's going to be performed. So we got to get to our own land. Read.
The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel his companions.
Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, come on.
Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim.
Remember we said Joseph represents Ephraim, that many colors? Come on.
And for all the house of Israel his companions.
Come on.
And join them one to another.
So join them sticks one to another. Come on.
Into one stick.
And it's going to be one stick. Come on.
And they shall become one in thine hand.
They're going to become one in thy hand. Come on.
And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, Wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these?
Come on.
Saith unto them, thus saith the Lord God.
Because they're going to go and say, what y'all, you see it when you out there. They say, what does this mean? Y'all got these names up here. And what do we should say? Ymir?
Say unto them, thus saith the Lord God.
We're going to say, thus saith the Lord God. Read.
Behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah.
Come on.
And make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand.
And they shall be one in my hand. Come on.
And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand, before their eyes.
So we're commanded to take this out. That stick, those tribes, we're commanded for that to be before their eyes. We're not just bringing it out there because it's a chart. You're ignorant. The Lord told us to bring it out there. Say, put the names of the tribes out there and you bring it before them. We just want us to write the names of the tribes. People are going to go, you write the names of the tribe. People will say, well, what does this mean? Who is that? You don't understand. You need to put the ensign with it. You need to pitch the tent with the ensign of the Father's house. You need to write down the names. Put the characteristics. What do this bulk of people do right here? Oh, they ravening wolves, man. Benjamin. Oh, these people right here, man, they strong, they workers, man. Issachar. So you start bringing out the characteristics of them, and they fit perfectly. Only to the mind of the ignorant, they don't. Because the only thing they can see is names. Mexican. It's a Mexican. It's a byword. It's a curse. We only got it out there because we need to identify where the bulk of them are at. It's a shame that you have to go over these topics because it should be known. But to those out there, there's more. We just skimming the surface. We're not really even going in on the tribes. Lord's will, we're going to have an ebook to come out because we're sick of telling you all day that these people fit the curses. And they have the characteristics. All right? But for you Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom, the children of Israel, you folks out there who are learning, continue to learn. Stay away from the weirdos, okay? Because at the end of the day, they don't know anything. All right? And what that causes, it causes a lot of confusion. All right? If you want to see confusion, you go to my page, go to my wall, on the Facebook page, and click on there. I might title it Confusion. Just put little clips of it on, and you will see for yourself. All right? The book of Acts.
The book of Acts, chapter 5 and verse 29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey God rather than men.
Well, if you don't have the Most High behind you and you follow the man or woman, I'll say that again. You know, they telling you what to break down. Don't hit them with that one yet. We give all praises to the Most High in Christ for allowing us to at least go over the scriptures a little bit. I don't know if y'all can hang with the extended sessions.
Oh my goodness.
But we ain't done by a long shot, all right? All praises to the Most High Christ. Y'all stay strong, stay enduring, all right? Enduring to the end, remember that. All right? And with that, we say shalom.
Shalom, Most High Christ bless everybody.